Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, and I'm back with Rob Hill, aka the Bad Movie Bible, to finish off the original Star Wars trilogy of commentaries with Return of the Jedi. So Rob, is Jedi better than Empire?
I think I might have mentioned this in the last one. Obviously it's not better, but I think I probably prefer it, if I'm honest.
Right, okay. It's that, again, I think it's the middle act section of a story, and it ends downbeat, and this one's kind of all... the original title, Revenge of the Jedi, getting back at the Empire and winning. And it's got one of the best endings out of all the Star Wars films, which we'll get to. So, folks, if you wish to sync this commentary with your own copy of the film, bear in mind we are watching the special edition version, which is the most common. Put the timestamp to 0 on your NTSC DVD/Blu-ray, or if you're streaming on Disney Plus, and press play now. See, as a kid, this was probably my favourite Star Wars film because it had obviously more lightsaber stuff. The first one doesn't have that, and he has a few little moments. But it's the third act was just incredible, and I still love the opening of the film, especially with the sail barge sequence where Luke Skywalker jumps into action. But it does have, I must say, sort of the middle act problems with the Ewoks. It sort of runs a little bit out of steam.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the problem with the whole trilogy, really, isn't it? It's not a strong closer. The whole thing runs out of steam a little bit.
In terms of Jedi and sort of repeating the Death Star stuff, you mean?
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't have the magic, does it, of the first two films? This one, it is a stepping stone to the prequel trilogy, really, in terms of the compromises, the George and his wacky ideas, not really having any pushback from anybody. It's a dry run for the prequels in a way. But the thing is, I grew up with it. I was, it's been part of my life for as long as I can remember. So I don't care about the shortcomings. I don't care about the Ewoks. I don't care about anything. It's Return of the Jedi, and I just adore it.
Because George, I think most fans would know that this was originally titled Return of the Jedi, and then the new producer who had worked on Empire, but Gary Kurtz had been demoted or essentially let go and replaced with Howard Kazanjian, who didn't like Return of the Jedi title and preferred Revenge. But then, obviously, later on it was switched back to Return because Jedis don't seek revenge. So it kind of, and those posters were printed, weren't they, of Revenge of the Jedi, which are quite pricey now. That original kind of print run. But Jedi to me my memory of it was through the toys, because the toys were still being sold by 1987, 88. But the frustrating thing, when you look at all the toy range of Jedi compared to Empire and Star Wars, there were kind of less weapons these characters had, like guns and stuff. So it was all kind of being slightly softened for kids. And this was George's attempt with Jedi, was to bring it back to the kid appeal of the original Star Wars film, because Empire was seeing as too dark and too mature, and having Ewoks thrown in was kind of the ingredient to sort of bring it back to a younger age.
Yeah, and he talks about that in the commentary as well, actually, and you do forget that these films are not made for people our age. They're made for children, aren't they? Which is why I've always been a bit critical of people having to go at the prequels on the grounds of Jar Jar and them being made for children and all that. That's not the problem with the prequels. They've got far bigger problems than the fact that Jar Jar's in them and that they're made for children. They're meant to be for children, aren't they? And it's interestingly, the only reason the Ewoks are in this is because he got a bit carried away with Chewie, isn't it? Making Chewie like a fully developed species, the Wookiee, meant that he couldn't use them in the way that they'd originally been introduced for, which was to overcome the Empire and to demonstrate that a backwards species can overcome even the most powerful technological species. Couldn't use Wookiees for that because he made them too clever, so he made Ewoks instead.
Yeah, so an earlier draft, wasn't it, of Star Wars that had the Wookiees, but then he would recycle that into Revenge of the Sith, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But if in terms of like bringing it back towards a sort of entertainment for children, but you also got to think back to 1977. Those kids who saw it when they were like 8 years old. This is 6 years later. So those kids would be older. So I think technically the films would mature with their audience. You know, in my mind, it would kind of work that way. Somewhat stepping back after you've kind of had some traumatic story beats in Empire to say, oh, let's have it appeal to children again. It's just, I think George has been clever in terms of like, we can sell more stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so
There's a new generation of kids with money.
Yes, yeah. And obviously by that point, there's sort of some of the rules in terms of advertising toys to children had been changed significantly. So that's why we saw his rise of He-Man and Transformers, where toys could be marketed to kids, you know, kind of more obviously, I suppose.
Yeah.
They relaxed the laws, hadn't they? But,
in the US. Yeah, it's interesting what you say about the weapons. I'd never noticed that the toys associated with this movie were less militarized or less weaponized. Is that the case then?
Yeah. There's kind of less blasters with characters. You'd have like sticks and like you know, things like that, like an axe or something. You know, it wasn't. There's a few videos on people discussing the toy line of Jedi, where they went kind of crazy with all the, you know, a background character, whatever toy, you know.
But George's logic being that kids shouldn't be pretending that they're blasting each other but hitting each other with axes is fine.
I suppose it was. I suppose maybe they'd introduced loads of characters that didn't have guns, maybe. But I don't know. Really. I think that's kind of a here or there. But I think it's. I think the new range of toys is really kind of Jabba's, you know, subordinates and things like that. Obviously, with the special edition cut, they had this kind of weird artificial zoom, don't they, on Jabba's palace where they approach the door, which is always kind of trying to make it look bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing watching the special. I've not seen the special edition probably since it came out.
Oh, right. So we got the moment which we did discuss in the Empire commentary with the dance number and the song that's horrendous.
I'll never forget that. Do you know who did the voice? The voice for this interrogator thing is Richard Marquand, apparently the director.
Oh, really? Oh, we should talk about Richard because he'd done that World War II thriller, Eye the Needle.
Yes, I meant to remind myself of that before we did this because I have seen it, but I can't remember much about it now.
It takes place in Scotland.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland is this kind of sleeper Nazi in the UK, and he's trying to warn the Germans about D-Day.
I remember it being very like dark and cold. And,
yes, it's all up in Scotland on an island. I think it's all kind of miserable weather, and I thought at first it would be like, set in London, and he's kind of they've you know captured World War, that sort of 1940s London and things like that. But it's very much kind of a small story set in a house, and but that, you know, done quite well. It was a successful book, and obviously because Lucas was now out of the Film Directors Guild, wasn't he? So he couldn't use many people. He had to rely on people that weren't part of a union. And they were impressed by Richard's work on Eye the Needle and gave him the job. I think obviously David Lynch was obviously considered him. So it was Richard Marquand and David Lynch. Now Lynch was told by his agent, "Oh, you should take this. You can't," because Lynch wasn't interested at all. And
you've got to play in now that clip of David Lynch getting a headache while George Lucas is telling him about Wookiees.
And I came into an office, and there was George. And he talked with me for a little bit, and then he said, "I want to show you something." Now, right about in this time, I started getting a little bit of a headache. And he showed me these things called Wookiees. And now this headache is getting stronger.
And he said to George that if Star Wars is your thing, you should do it. And obviously Lucas didn't want to direct another film. He was very much kind of building up Skywalker Ranch. You know, he was kind of expanding, but also he had to finish this film, and that's why he got Richard Marquand, and who was kind of like there's different sides of the story in terms of what people thought of him as a director. Anthony Daniels is quite scathing. And others, you know, I think they're very much in the official documentary Empire of Dreams. Richard is seen as someone who's inexperienced, or doesn't, especially because they're throwing him in to do a big visual effects movie, and Richard could bring on two people from his own, have his own choice of editor and director of photography, which was Alan Hume, who'd done just photographed for your eyes only. He'd worked on the Carry On films and then go on to photograph Supergirl and A View to a Kill. I think Octopussy as well. But and Sean Barton was the editor. But Sean will still get a credit in the film, but I think most of it was kind of rejigged by what's the editor's name? Well, Marcia Lucas will obviously kind of edit the emotional parts of the film. There's another chap whose name will come back to me soon, but yeah, Mark Wand wasn't seen as the right choice.
Lucas's idea was he'd do all the stuff that Richard Marquand wasn't familiar with. So Lucas only really apparently wanted him for the actors stuff, as he calls it, the core of the movie. And I think the plan was for Lucas to take charge of everything else, which I'm sure he did. But yeah, even just arranging the actors on. I remember seeing a clip behind the scenes on Endor, and it was just an actor's scene. It was just a dramatic scene. There's two people talking, but there's so much going on in the background. There's so many elements involved. Even if you're not having to worry about the visual effects and so on, it's still a huge amount to take on if your experience is movies like Eye of the Needle. So I can really appreciate that he was a bit out of his depth.
Yeah, because Lucas started doing second unit, and then he couldn't, because Lucas had too much to manage, so he brought on Roger Christensen. Is it Christensen or Christian? Roger Christian. Yeah, who'd worked on A New Hope.
Yeah. So
he came in to do the rest of the second unit. But George was still kind of looking over Richard's shoulder, basically. Yeah. A lot of it.
Yeah, and his plan, I think, was to make it a lot like how things work now with TV shows, especially. The director is really just there to kind of get the shots in the bag. The executive producer is the guiding light, is the overriding authority. And I think that's basically how they try to do it with this. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it worked pretty much.
There's a lot of good stuff in this. Yeah. I think you can't just discredit what Richard done. I think Richard brings a lot to this. And despite what some of the naysayers may say, I think there's...
I agree.
Especially with Alan Hume as the director of photography, I think the film looks fantastic.
Yeah, and just the way the dramatic scenes are like the stuff between Vader and Luke at the end is, that's some of the best drama in the series. He handles really difficult scenes like the one with where Luke has to reveal to Leia that she's his sister, and there's so much to slog through in that scene, and it's it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's a slog or a problem. I think he's done a really good job with the actual characters.
Yeah. You're a feisty little one. So R2's job is just going to be on a sail barge, which they may not use that often, but they will use in this film. Later on.
And that guy, all these voices. That's Ben Burt. The no droid, the gonk droid being tortured. That's actually Ben Burt's voice, the sound designer. The most unsung of all the heroes of this series, Ben Burt, for me, always.
Oh, this bit. Oh God, it gets worse, doesn't it? I remember when the promotions were coming out for the special edition edit, where this dancing.
Oh my God!
What is it supposed to be? I don't know. But he was like singing, like his mouth wide open. You see all the mucus and stuff. That was part of the trailer. He says, "Oh my God!"
It's just this looks so much worse than I was expecting it to. It really stands out.
You see Boba Fett just walk past behind Jabba.
Oh my
just
God!
Comp him in.
It is so badly done. Yeah, that's it. There he is with his tonsils.
Because you were saying, I think as a commentary for a film we'd done ages ago, but you were talking about where visual effects artists wanted to show off what they could do, and they spent and having that moment is them to show off what they could do at the time. And, and it just becomes a bit self-indulgent.
Completely.
But there is actually, because I was watching the theatrical cut the other day, the original one, and there is a sense that Jabba's palace does seem, the interior actually is quite small when you see it with a lot of the wides and stuff, they don't. It's not actually a big set. And in my memory, it's like the trap where he pulls the rug out from under Luke and he falls in. It's weirdly in a wrong place to where Luke is standing, so he has to kind of move forward to fall into it. So I don't know. It all feels a bit how it's designed and where the camera's placed and where the actors are. It doesn't quite make sense to where he falls in and the scale of it.
I think they probably had a lot of problems with the fact that that Jabba can't move, that he's just kind of stuck there, isn't he? They can't do anything with him. Even when, they have to invent a big rolling system for his stone bed just to get it forwards a few feet when Luke does go in the hole, don't they? That's like the only movement Jabba does.
Yeah. And again, I think with these new versions, I think with A New Hope and having Jabba in it, it sort of does ruin the surprise of Jabba. This is kind of this new monster they're going to introduce. He's already been introduced, or now he's already appeared in Episode 1. Obviously, they're throwing in more shots of Boba Fett because after the fact that he became more popular, we have to keep throwing bits of him in. And the worst was earlier when he walks behind Jabba in that awful composite shot. But we'll get to it actually when he gets defeated in doing the sail barge attack. But this one still has what I love is some great humour in this, especially with C-3PO trying to communicate with Jabba, and he just knocks him out now.
Yeah, and also, funny enough, when I was a kid, the funniest thing I'd ever heard anyone say in a movie was Han Solo in this when he's told he's going to be executed tomorrow or whatever it is. He says, "Good, I hate long waits." And that as a child, that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard. And that was new for Star Wars, especially after Empire, for there to be actual comedy.
It was like the moments we see in a bit where everyone's gone to sleep in a bit, but some people are sleeping, they're sitting down and leaning on someone. It's like, how can you spend your life just sleeping like that? And
they'll just go to sleep exactly where they spend the whole day.
Where Jabba's just like asleep, but he's always dribble when he gets woken up. He's like, oh, it's some good moments, And that's kind of where like the enjoyment of the original trilogy had that comedy where the prequels are kind of humorless, for the most part, and and that's what what kind of Star Wars is. You can't display Star Wars completely straight and not have sort of comedic elements, because it's supposed to be a fun throwback to the action serials of the past, Flash Gordon,
Where have the CG characters gone now? All these shots,
they've sort of disappeared.
Do we not see them again at all, like in the background with all the other normal characters?
I think they cut. I think they've disappeared now. Yeah.
'Cause the thing what I don't understand with these decisions is why that's just the coolest costume that Lando's wearing. I loved that as a kid. That mask, it's amazing. Like if they just made the CG characters slightly different to a normal four-limbed, humanoid shape, then it wouldn't stand out. But because suddenly they've introduced a couple of things that are just completely wild shapes with eyes on stalks, and so it immediately stands out as not fitting with everything else. As not, I don't know.
It just sticks out like a sore thumb. And but if when you go back and watch the original sequence of the dance number, I can understand why George was upset with it, because it's very stiff and they don't. They're being very ambitious in what they could do at the time.
There's a lot of puppets involved as well, aren't there? Which means there's not much.
And they're very sort of stiff. And they can only do a certain number of movements. And then you've got the blue elephant playing the guitar,
which doesn't
piano,
look that great, frankly.
And you've got looks like a dog playing what was it, like a flute or something, I don't know.
It always looks like one of those macro photography things of like a louse or something, like a head louse, that blue thing. It's not.
But I had that little figure of Leia where he had a costume. Yeah, that was quite common. That was.
I must have had more Jedi toys than probably the original Star Wars when I think about it. Because I had the Tidarian shuttle as well. That was one of my favourites.
A lot of the AT-ATs I saw, 8080s. Whatever, I can't remember, I can't decide what
For
was
our
called.
generation, they're AT-ATs.
AT-ATs, yeah. The Empire toy range were the ones I always saw, floating around. Even though they did re-release it for this one because it does feature later on for a brief moment.
I'm glad they didn't change this ropey old effect. The guy who did Jabba's voice is the same guy who did Greedo's, in
Really?
the first film. Yeah, Ben Burtt always reuses these people. I saw him talking about it in an interview. Whenever he hears a voice that isn't immediately like distinctive as male or female or old or young, or that isn't distinctive as anything in particular, he just like cops them in the street and says, "Excuse me, will you come and record some talking for me?" And that's how they end up. So the woman who did E.T. is, who is she in this? She's someone in this, and that's just someone he like heard talking in a store and loved her voice and has gone back and used her time and time again over the years.
Really? There's also Harrison wasn't contracted to return for the third one because he was supposed to be dead. Well, he wanted to be killed off, but Lucas was adamant that he had to come back, and Lawrence Kasdan was kind of forced to sort of write him in, So everyone's kind of we see Jabba is kind of squeezed in. Everyone's squeezed in at the back. You can see how small it is, the set.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of all crammed in because on the exterior you see this massive kind of, this kind of.
I wonder why
fortress.
that is. I wonder why it is so small. If there was a practical reason for it, or
well, it's Elstree, just kind of low on space maybe. Because it's all Stuart Freeborn, wasn't it, designing Jabba, and had a bunch of operators at animatronic and guys with like radio remote controls, and a little man inside the tail, which I think Carrie Fisher would step on by accident.
Yeah, I remember being fascinated by that. Old, I think I mentioned this in the Empire commentary. Those like 45-minute making of videos that used to accompany these movies, and the Jedi one. I remember being fascinated by how they'd constructed Jabba and how it took 6 different people to. As someone says in the commentary, there's a dwarf in the tail and a guy on the tongue, which made me laugh. I don't know why.
I did love the Family Guy throwaway gag of Jabba the Hutt. It was Ortinoir, nipple benchy.
It's the that hand puppet thing that appears, and that do you remember in Return of the Jedi, where everyone's just cell animated as they should be, and all of a sudden a hand puppet just appears right in the middle, leaping about to represent the CGI.
What was his name again? The little kind of little puppet next to Jabba.
Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb, that was it. He goes, yeah. I mean, his little noises he makes are so funny. Here comes Luke. That was great. Remember early on when C-3PO enters and he's like that kind of mechanical spider behind him. He's like, ooh! He's like...
Yeah, this corridor's bigger than Jabba's throne room.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Oh, did you watch that deleted scene from Jedi where he builds his lightsaber?
No, I've never seen that.
No, as I said, okay, once, when Darth Vader arrives on the Death Star, it's supposed to cut to Vader going into his chamber, and he communicates with Luke, and Luke's in a cave, and he constructs his green lightsaber, and he puts it in R2. But they cut it out. It's a cool sequence, but I know why it's cut, because it ruins the surprise that R2's got the lightsaber hidden inside him. And that's the kind of thing with all these, like when you put out deleted scenes, there's always this kind of, it's obviously a slightly different subject now, or topic, but director's cuts and extended versions where people always think there's a better version of a film out there, and studios ruined it to cut it down. It's like, well, in some cases, scenes are deleted for a reason,
I always remember the confusion of seeing Leia like this, because I hadn't seen Empire Strikes Back when Return of the Jedi came out.
Oh, right,
and the leap from ending with her in giving medals out at the end of A New Hope to her being a bikini slave was quite confusing for an 8-year-old.
No, he was supposed to be. He's based on.
Sydney Greenstreet, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Jabba.
Yeah, but yeah, just Sydney Greenstreet in the Maltese Falcon and Casablanca. And around that time, he was. I don't know. He must have been. He must have been contracted to the studio because it was always him, and Peter Lorre was always in his movies, and Bogart was. Yeah, and he was always the same character. He's normally a bit more charming than Jabba, though.
They could have had like, if it wasn't Sydney's Greenstreet as a sort of inspiration for Jabba, it could have been Orson Welles, because he was
But Sydney Greenstreet often played this type of character as well, like the local crime boss.
Yes.
It's nice getting some monsters in here.
See, Luke was so close to him then, because he did step forward to take the hood off his cloak.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that close to him. Maybe he just kind of just choked him out, instead of reaching for a gun, Now the Rancor beast, wasn't it? Was supposed to be a man in a suit, very much like Godzilla. That's what Lucas wanted, and they did tests. Yeah, and it doesn't look great. You see behind the scenes, you see a bloke in a suit. It's got part of the finalised design, but then a bit of orange kind of foam around him. Have you seen those
I don't
pictures?
remember that.
Then it basically ends up becoming a high-speed hand puppet.
Yeah, it's a hand puppet, isn't it?
It's incredible, isn't it?
I remember, I always thought it was stop motion as a kid.
Yeah, so did I. But you see how smooth it is, and it's shot at 90 frames per second.
But it's funny to think this is really kind of the first, apart from the Wampa, this is really the first monster that we've had in Star Wars. It was strange to think that there's actually relatively few weird alien beings in this series until this moment here in Jabba's palace. You've got a few odds and sods in the cantina, but they're just recycled Halloween masks. They're not real, and none of them say or do anything.
You've got the Wolfman in there, haven't you?
Yeah, they're not, they're just pretty lame in the background. But yeah, here back to back, you've got like the Gamorrean guards and all the oddities in Jabba's palace, the Rancor, the Sarlacc pit monster thing.
In the original version, this scene is a lot darker. They've kind of brightened up a lot of the beast and removed some of the matte lines. There was someone put some on Twitter the other day, actually, or X. The comparison between these sequences, and most people preferred the older look of this sequence, but it's kind of I don't know. I suppose artistically, you can kind of see a bit more in this one.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a huge issue with these adjustments. I mean, that's the thing with outside of introducing CG elements, if they're just improving matte lines and the balance of the color, then I'm not going to complain, because by in 1983 they're trying to get rid of those matte lines. They weren't intended to be there. It's just unfortunate of the technology, of the chemical method of compositing.
Come on, Luke, you've got to be able to beat one of these if you're going to be a Jedi.
Imagine if he couldn't throw. It's like those baseball players in The Simpsons. He goes, "Keep it up, guys." Bart goes, he just goes, he throws. He'd find a clip of that.
This is great. I love this guy. Oh no!
It's like, comes Rich Evans.
It's a great voice that they've constructed for Jabba.
I think they have some, not Jabba himself, but his other creatures like him in the upcoming Mandalorian movie.
Oh yeah,
they have like these Jabbas kind of fighting or something like that. I don't know, something like that. Because they always kind of, this is supposed to be Jabba when he's old and out of shape. So I don't know what Jabba was doing his prime,
Oh, probably leaping off the walls, knowing what
he must have a
filmmakers
lightsaber as well. So he pulls that. That'll be George one day, Jabba's going to pull out his laser sword and go to town on on someone. There's so many of those the pig soldiers. There was so many of those toys floating around in the early 90s at car boot sales.
Yeah.
So many of them. They're like foot soldiers from Ninja Turtles, just everywhere.
Because you had to have several. They're like stormtroopers. You couldn't have just one. You needed a few. So
Yeah. Oh.
See, Jabba's not looking quite as great as I remember, to be honest. He's looking a little bit more like a rubber puppet thing.
Way older like rubber to me. This is all new stuff here.
Yeah.
But then when the sail barge comes towards the camera and goes over it, that's original stuff. So it's supposed to start from here, when they're just going over the dunes. It was a mid shot.
Yeah.
It all looked like R2's got like a CD on his head, but it's actually the top of his thing just popped up.
Because, of course, R2 has a ready-made tray holder for skiff barges.
Now, in the original, the Sarlacc pit, isn't it? It basically looks like a bumhole in the middle of the desert, doesn't it?
Yeah, they add a bunch of tentacles and stuff, don't they, for the CG?
And a beak comes out of it.
Really?
Yeah, like a kind of like a plant thing, it's so weird because I have to show it kind of eating people instead of essentially being like a mouth that's in the desert that will just swallow you and digest you over many years. It's a slow death.
There's some really, really ropey effects work going on here. Even in the supposedly fixed version, all the shots we just saw of Han and Chewie on that open-top barge thing, there's so much green spill on them from the green screen they're shot in front of.
Would have been blue screen though, wouldn't it?
It's green though. I can see green.
It's interesting.
I know what you mean,
because you're shooting like a daytime sequence, in the desert, and you're compositing it, so it's so difficult to eliminate those spills, isn't it?
Especially when they're quite small. You just had Chewie with all of his hair, which must be impossible to create a decent mat around. You can probably see it. Oh no, you can't actually. But yeah, Chewie in particular in the long shot from the big barge, when Chewie's just a small figure, he's just glowing green. This has always seemed like a bit of an anticlimax to me, this sequence, if I'm honest. I love all the Jabba's Palace stuff up until this point. I feel like they could have done more here somehow.
Because they end up sort of when he gets on top of the sail barge, it's only a couple of dudes left.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of standing around, just blocking shots. He should just
go. Han and Lando don't really do anything.
Well, they sort of fumble quite quickly. I love the bit where Han Solo can't find Chewie's head. He goes, Chewie, your head? Where is it? Because he can't see it. It's all just hair in front of him. But it's the build-up, though. It's the music. John Williams' score here.
I challenge you not to think of Family Guy, though.
They keep nodding, don't they?
That noise, the stab of instruments, it just always makes me think of Family Guy.
As a kid, this was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. There's a somersault. That should have been quicker when he got the lightsaber. Just stand there with his arm up in the air. They would have got him by then. Anyway, hack him to bits. Into the bumhole you go.
God, those tendrils look ridiculous. And there was a shot looking down into the Sarlacc pit a minute ago when you could see the beak, and it just looked like it had just been plopped there in the middle.
But the Richard Marquand wanted the whole set built, and it's only featured the full piece of the set in one shot. Lucas wasn't happy because Lucas wanted to spend essentially the same amount of money as he did on Empire, and not really accounting for inflation. So it was still the same amount he wanted to use. But by '83, this was cheaper than Superman 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's. I can't see how you could do this for the same money as Empire, because it's just so much bigger. I suppose There's more green around Luke then, and there's green around Boba Fett as he flew across the sky.
I remember the arguments about because for me, Boba Fett became this really popular character. But even in '83, in the film where he kind of features, they didn't give a shit about him. He just gets killed off so quickly.
Lucas has talked about this. He hadn't realised at that point how popular. Well, he tells two different stories about this. One is that he hadn't realised how popular Boba Fett had become. Otherwise, he would have given him more of a more dramatic, worthy death. And the other thing he often says is that he'd wanted to give him a more dramatic, worthy death because of how popular he'd become, but he didn't have the opportunity or something. He's talked a lot about how he ummed and ahed about whether to include a shot of him escaping from the Sarlacc pit, but
which he would do, wouldn't he? But he would plop out of the Sarlacc pit overweight and a different actor, and
it's all just because he had a helmet kids thought were cool. That's why the whole Mandalorian exists. That's why the Book of Boba Fett exists. Just because some kids thought the helmet was cool.
Because he was a cool action figure.
Because that is all it was. I remember I was there at Ground Zero when it was decided Boba Fett was cooler than he'd sort of been presented as, and it was just because he had a cool helmet.
Do you remember the teaser trailer for this? Because he featured a blue lightsaber, didn't he?
No.
Doing these shots. Yeah. That's what the poster. It's blue, isn't it? The lightsaber in the American one sheet, it's a blue lightsaber. But they changed it to green because blue doesn't go very well with desert backdrop, does it?
No, it's because heroes have green lightsabers. There's always a reason for the things that George does for technical reasons. There's always actually a creative reason.
We'll see with this bit here where Auntie Daniels had a bit of a freak out, didn't he? Because claustrophobic moment.
And apparently that's the footage they left in, but they always say that, don't they? You never know if it's true.
And he gets pinged in the hand now, my robot hand hurts.
You do forget how revealing that costume is that they've put Carrie Fisher in, don't you?
She basically ate nothing, didn't she? She's doing her drug phase as well still, so partying with Margot Kidder or something. This is wicked miniature when this blows up. I absolutely love it. I'm sure they brought a toy out of the sail barge, but it wasn't as long, was it? It was quite a smaller piece. Yeah,
I don't remember. Those really big ships that were scaled right down were never very popular, as I remember it.
Well, the Death Star toy looked rubbish compared to what it's supposed to be. What you imagined it would be.
Seeing that.
No, okay.
There was some sort of huge rebel cruiser ship as well that kind of woodlouse looking one.
The woodlouse.
No one I knew ever had that.
I had two friends who had that, but it was always, again, it was from a car boot sale, so it was missing parts and so forth. And obviously now we got the Emperor turning up shortly. Ian McDiarmid. Yeah. Or Diarmid. Is it Diarmid or Dermid?
It's spelt Diarmid, isn't it? And I noticed, I think Stuart might have been saying Diarmid.
He might have said Diarmid.
Diarmid, yeah, something. Yeah, I've got a feeling we've been saying his
Ian
name wrong.
McDiarmid. I always kind of called him that. But he was, because he went to audition for the film, not knowing what role he was being chosen for, and he sort of left. And Lucas said, I quite like his nose. When he phoned him up, they got the part saying, he's going to be playing the Emperor of the Universe. He was like, okay. Look at that. Matte painting mixed with...
just glorious, isn't it?
Look at this. That is incredible.
Absolutely convincing. And even with the reflective surface like that as well, they've got to blend in the real reflections with the painted ones.
It's mad, isn't it? The production notes of this was that Lucas didn't really know what to do with the third one, especially with the finale. So, and him and Cashton sort of said, "Well, we have to sort of bring back the Death Star," and many were sort of like, "Oh, you've already kind of done that. And he was like, oh, I was going to have a half-built one. You know, I think Marshall Lucas was kind of like, you can't do the same thing again. But I think the benefit of this
You
one
don't
is
say that
'cause-
to George Lucas.
Yeah, I think the benefit of this one, you've got 3 story threads
Yeah.
tangled up at near the end, where A New Hope only got one. It's just a run on the Death Star. This has got
Yeah.
the Ewoks, you've got Luke and Vader, and you've got the dogfight in space. So it does kind of amp it all up. And, I don't mind it.
There's a favourite quote of mine from Lucas that fits here that I made a note of before we started. He said, there are a lot of things added into this movie because by the time I got this far down from the original script, the story had become pretty thin and I had to fill in a lot of blanks. So in other words, he was just making it up as he went along.
Yeah.
And he realised he'd written himself into a corner and didn't know quite how to end the trilogy. So had to bring back the Death Star because that's clearly how it was originally conceived to have ended. This whole idea that he'd planned out 9 films worth of story in advance is complete rubbish. He had one ending and it involved a Death Star. And so he had to do that again because
Because they weren't going to, by this point, he wasn't going to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, the city, Coruscant, wasn't a thing.
no.
No.
And like you say, it's non-linear. It isn't exactly what non-linear means in my mind, but George always calls it non-linear. The fact that he's jumping about between these 3 different conclusions, and that does make a difference, and that is interesting. I think I do like the way that he does that.
This bit's always quite sad. I think all the emotional beats are handled by Marshall Lucas. This is the point where Lucas and her were sort of breaking up, going through a divorce, but he still wanted her to edit the film, or put, important sections of it. And she said she struggled to find, because I think Richard Mark wanted, when Luke encounters Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's a bit more aggressive, and she goes, "Oh, I know Mark would have wanted to do it differently and wanted a softer conversation," and there was one, and she used that. So the original edit by Sean Barton, the director's cut, Richard Marquand's cut, got quite changed a lot by Marsha and the other co-editor. Dwayne Dunham. They changed a lot of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I'd be interested to see that original cut. But this sequence here would find itself, because Lucas was developing in the background, Edit Droid, which was editing with Laserdisc. So it was have the rushes put on Laserdisc and you edit digitally, right? And this Laserdisc about 5-6 years ago just turned up on this auction, had the rushes of Return of the Jedi on it. And that was part of the Edit Droid.
No way.
Yeah.
What happened to it?
Well, it basically got replaced by computers.
No, what happened to the disc that turned up?
Oh, it got sold. I think it got sold. Someone had purchased it, but so it must have been someone had it over these years from Lucasfilm. But the I think it's like a 45-minute or hour-long documentary on Edit Droid. I think it might be on Vimeo or something like that. Might be on YouTube.
Yeah, I do. I remember watching something on Edit Droid years ago. Actually,
it's quite a dry documentary, but it's fascinating. Kind of the methods before digital editing,
before Avid and stuff, I guess.
Yes. Also, Lucas said he had to sort of, at this point, even though Vader had said he was Luke's father, that it could have been a trick.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people didn't believe it, did they? I believe. Sorry, a lot of people just didn't believe it.
So he had to go stick to his guns and say, okay, well, we're going to go through with it, that it is, and that's where you get the sort of mangled, kind of like Obi-Wan saying, "Oh, from a certain point of view," sort of.
Yes, one of the first instances of George having to retroactively change the narrative of Star Wars in order to fit what he just randomly decided to do that week.
Yeah, he's more machine now than man.
From a certain point of view. That's a hand wave that pretty much works, I think.
I'm sure some people in there who were a bit like super hardcore fans of Star Wars at the time were like, that's like sloppy writing, But, the reviews-wise, this movie, like Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel raved about it. Absolutely loved this film. And everyone kind of did. I think this was still, though, that period of diminishing returns where Empire didn't make as much as Star Wars and Return of the Jedi didn't make as much as Empire. But this, when it came out, it broke all box office records, for the opening weekend,
Well, you can see, like, the reviews for Empire probably involved a fair bit of it's really good, but not quite as child-friendly. The kids won't like it quite as much and all that kind of thing, whereas this is very much a return to let's give the kids what they want.
Let's give the man babies what they want.
That's great, that. Although it's still his bloody ears. There's always something going on with Yoda's ears that bothers me.
Imagine if his ear had folded inside out like a cat or a dog, and it pops back in. Oh, it's sad when he dies. The music here is wonderful.
The lighting's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actual acting as well, Mark. Well done.
Yeah. And Yoda disappears.
You can really see in that shot the damage from the car accident on his nose, can't you? How misshapen his nose is if you see him dead straight face on.
Earlier on, when he's the camera's on him when he's looking up at Jabba, he looks so gaunt in the face. He's definitely trying to lose a lot of weight by this point. But I suppose he's in his kind of best shape in this one because he's now become the full Jedi, and he's got, he's got a lot more pressure on him as well because he's, I suppose it's the movie where the first Star Wars, it's an ensemble where now Luke's getting a lot more, I suppose, of Empire by himself.
That's the funny thing when you think about it. From after Hoth, he's kind of on his own for most of the franchise, most of the original trilogy. Luke is completely on his own, separated from Han and Leia. I mean, he has a brief meeting with them on the sail barge. He has a brief meeting with them in that briefing thing before they go to Endor, and other than that, he's got no scenes with them in these two movies. Really, a little bit in the start of Empire, I suppose.
I suppose, you could argue where in Force Awakens, where he's out of the movie and pops up near the end. I mean, that's kind of in keeping with Luke, who just fucks off, does his own thing. He's not.
He's got Jedi shit to get done, and it's up to the others to be dicking about with the Empire. That's not Luke's job. And here we are again with the best paid actor in the movie.
It's like he's running out of like ghost power. He looks older and tired now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's like in the Frighteners where they're running out of their blue goo or something. It's sort of getting the ghost spirit starts fading. I think, did they change that? Did they update the ghost effect on him?
I was just wondering that, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at all surprised. What would be interesting would be if Lucas had left this trilogy completely untouched and now, today in 2026, decided to update it and special edition it. I wonder how differently it would be done, whether he'd be wise enough to... Because it was done still back in that first flush of CGI when people just wanted to use it as much as possible. I wonder if now, number one, it would be better, and number two, there'd be less of it.
I think there would probably be less of it. It would look better, but it would still look, 10 years' time, not look as good. And that's the thing. In 97, people, I think I recall it being like, whoa, that looks amazing. And then like 5 years later, that looks like dog shit, It's, but technology was so radically changing, wasn't it?
And how we use it too.
Yeah. A film from 97 couldn't look as good with a top ILM CGI by 2000. It was better processing, better software, better artists, more time. Things be able done quicker with rendering, so they could focus more on other stuff. But if they were going to do it now, I'd probably say there probably would have been a more minimalistic, I think. But then he was still tweaking stuff, wasn't he? with the Blu-ray release, where he'd put a rock in front of R2 when he's hiding. It's like, why have you? First of all, he couldn't squeeze in there. Now he can't get out. It's like, what have you done?
And there's all kinds of CG that he's probably completely redone that we don't even notice or that I'm unaware of. But it still just really stood out in that Jabba the Hutt sequence. It was really quite shocking how bad it looked.
Yeah, yeah. This bit coming up is early CG, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but ILM had already done this stuff in better stuff in Wrath of Khan with the Genesis project, But this is like we're going to take what we did in A New Hope, which was a kind of hand animated to look like computer graphics, and then animate it properly in with 3D graphics, and it's great.
It's an interesting comparison scene, isn't it? Because it's exactly the same scene as the one at the end of A New Hope preceding the run down the trench. But
see, it wasn't Rebels taking it; it's Bothins. I don't know who are these Bothins. Everyone's like, many Bothins died to give us information. And some people, she cut someone's going, I don't know, who are they? It's like,
I liked that though. Even as a child, I remember that gave me a sense of scale to this universe. There's species that are important and carrying out everyday business and so on, but we've just never met them.
So delivery is really good though, isn't it? That it's an iconic little line from the film, isn't it?
Yeah. She looks shocked by what Admiral Akbar's saying there.
I think she said she couldn't remember most of her lines, and I think she had like cue cards, I think. I think she's probably like, this dialogue makes no sense.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
Now, this guy here turned up without a beard. They had to stick a beard on, didn't they? Because Stuart's got an action figure of him, and he tells me, what I always say to him, look at that beard. It's literally like bum fluff. Like someone shaved
It's
more
amazing,
hair,
isn't it? Yeah.
from somewhere else. It's so badly done. But yeah, because he turned up, and they go, why haven't you got a beard? I wasn't told to have a beard.
Yeah, well, he had a beard for the audition.
Oh,
and
okay.
then they made the toy, and then presumably, I don't know why you'd go to an audition, get a job, and then shave your beard off. Is beyond me, but maybe he was told it didn't matter or whatever.
But Luke does join him now, doesn't he, on Endor? So he's realised that he does need his friends, but then it's his ploy, isn't it, just to get to Vader?
Yeah, he's only with them briefly. A quick visit while he's tending to his own business like a selfish child. That shot, look at that. I mean, that must be a matte painting, I assume, but it's just beautiful.
No, because obviously we've said this before. I think many people are fully aware that Han Solo doesn't have much to do in this film other than take down the shield generator bit. But he's a lot more quirky and perky in this because he's like, "Hey, it's me," because he's now happy because he doesn't have Jabba the Hutt, potentially chasing him down. He's got all his problems.
True. I'd never thought
he's
about
now
that.
free. It's like he's now free from debt. He's got no debt.
I'd never thought about that. I've always been conscious of his sort of change in character in this film. How he's a bit more, a bit more wisecrack, a bit more upbeat, but.
That's clearly a matte painting.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, did you notice it in the background? They'd comped a tiny little figurine in the background there, and it looked really obvious. Why not change little things like that rather than sticking massive CGI characters right in the middle of the frame?
Well, it's like on a sail barge. There's a shot there when it goes over the dunes, and they've animated like 2D animation, a character walking on top of it. And it looks like 2D animation. I think, why not change that? It's odd little choices, and that's the kind of thing where when they did these remasters, you'd still see some of the travelling mats. And go, well, you corrected other ones. Why not that shot? So it's kind of again, it's like when Star Wars, this film in particular, came out on DVD for the first time. They screwed up the lightsabers, like Darth Vader and Luke's lightsabers during the end battle aren't right. They're missing like some of the glow and stuff.
Are they?
Yeah, there's videos of it. Well, I noticed it when it came out. It just didn't look right.
No, I didn't.
So weird. But that goes into my little theory, even though it's bollocks. Like, we'll correct some of the problems, but we'll create some new ones for you. So in the next re-release, we'll correct those ones.
I can believe that. Yeah. It's so evil.
I was always fascinated by the other people in the background.
I know there's always like a couple of really distinguished looking.
Is that his like ugly wife or something? I don't know.
It's normally there's a guy who follows him down the ramp out of the shuttle at the beginning as well, and it always looks like it's like some sort of twink lover that he takes around with him.
There must be other like just members of his.
Yeah, they look like aristocrats of some sort, don't they?
Did you have the toy, the speeder bike toy?
Yeah, the one that exploded when you press the little thing on the back.
I loved that little toy.
Yeah, and I think I had all of those all the costume characters as well. I remember Leia had this little green plastic Mac thing that you could take on and off. And Han's wearing his I'm a space pilot uniform. Because you all have to wear a black waistcoat if you're.
It's good to see Kenneth Colley return as Admiral Piet. He's now looking like more tired and run down by the Empire, you know.
Yeah, he does look a lot older, doesn't he?
Yeah, in the space of a couple of years, you know. By the end, when he's like, when they just before the ship is destroyed, you know, he just looks ragged at that point. Yeah, because Vader can detect him
when it's convenient.
They could have come in from the other direction, you know what I mean? Just snuck in. It's just like...
I know, I always think that.
That's the thing with space. You just go somewhere else, just pop up underneath, you know.
Fly casual, okay, then I'll go right past the bow of the command ship within a few minutes.
Just wave. Hello.
They've obviously done a lot of work on the matte bleeds around there. Every time you see the shot from the back of the cockpit and you see them against the blackness of space, there's not a hint of a matte or any blue or green spill or anything.
No, it's always a blue spill, isn't it, on that shot?
This is California, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, yes. I don't think it's that far from Skywalker Ranch, right?
No.
Because they did a test, didn't they? They took those old Steadicam cameras and there's just walked through it.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, consistent pace and shot it at high speed. And
yeah, it's like low speed. It's like 1 frame a second, I think. Yeah. And it was actually Garrett. What's his name? The guy who invented the Steadicam, who did all the work on The Shining. It was him who did it, wasn't it? Oh, what's his name? Garrett Hunt? No, I can't remember.
We'll find out. But it just looked incredible when you play it back, and you've got this amazing sequence to create a new action scene, you know, which is like the standout piece for this little moment.
Really. Yeah. Being a fan of racing in general and things that go fast, I just loved this sequence. This was the best bit.
I love the sound effects though when the bikes take off. It's this amazing echo through the forest. Because by this point, you know, Ben Burt was coming up with more sound effects that fit so well within this world, but felt unique.
Yeah. A lot of them come from research he did for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not necessarily sound effects for the speeder bikes, but he spent a day on an old Russian submarine, just like flicking all the switches and opening and closing all the doors and so on. and got a massive database of like mechanical sounds that he used throughout Jedi.
Mental. God, it'd be so risky to use these speeder bikes. One slight error, you're dead. Whack into a tree.
They do look like they've been comped in, though, don't they? They don't look. I mean, this isn't entirely convincing to my eye.
I don't think they used front projection in this, did they? I think it's ILM. They always just kind of went with blue screen.
Yeah, I think I would guess so. Yeah, and yeah, everything looking backwards or forwards is Steadicam man just walking through the forest, shooting 1 frame a second.
Yeah, and they'll have in the foreground some leaves go past, right, to create depth of field.
And then all the side shots like this, the background is they just drove a truck down the road next to the trees.
I mean, they've done a pretty good job. I think what makes it more convincing is the on-set lighting they've done. That's how you do it, to make it look more convincing. But I mean, for 83, this is incredible.
And the sound as well. The sound helps to convince.
And they're doing fast edits as well. If you linger too long, it sort of gives away. It scrutinises it more. You know?
It's the way that the speeder bikes move within the frame. Something doesn't look quite right to me. I can't pin it down. Strangely, Ben Burt's first audio mix for this scene, Lucas didn't like, and realised later on that it was because no one had thought to put in the sound of any kind of like branches and stuff that being hit by the speeders as they rush by. It was just the the motor sounds and so on.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? One little sound effect missing destroys the illusion.
Yeah, totally takes you out of it.
I love that. That's when they introduced the tiny little pistols into this.
Yeah. The speeder bike guys have different guns, don't they? Oh, there's a lot of green on that or blue.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're literally in front of the light that's spilled onto Mark Hamill with 2 bits of cardboard, just doing this, moving it up and down, just to create this flicker.
Yeah,
straightforward stuff. But I was like, as a kid, I was like, yes, thank God he's going to get his lightsaber out again. Here we go. Oof! And he whips it out.
Yes, come on, do it. Yeah.
Is it the behind the scenes of this, for that documentary, where they show this sequence where they keep cutting back to behind the scenes B-roll, and just has a guy holding the front of the speeder bike, just going, throwing it in front of the lens, and then it cuts to that,
I love the impactful explosions of the speeder bikes. When they hit a tree, it's a really effective, visceral explosion.
Yeah.
That really doesn't look like military attire that Han's wearing.
Well, the jacket's camouflage though.
Yeah, it's like they've given him a really cool trench coat and just kind of, we'll make it vaguely camouflaged and then we can call it uniform.
Now, there's the Kenny Baker not playing Wicket. There's 2 sides to this, because one, he got food poisoning and was too ill to do the shoot, so Warwick Davis stepped in and became the character. The other one was that he was completely pissed. He was so drunk.
I've never heard this. Before. I already know which one I believe.
Okay, so a few years ago, I recommended to Rob to watch it. We hadn't seen it before we did this commentary, but it's the Icons Unearthed on Prime. Now, the show, because I've done multiple series, well, not series, but one on Batman, Spider-Man, Star Wars, and something else. Oh, James Bond. They do kind of play on the drama a lot in gossip. So they got some, familiar names from the Star Wars crew, talking about these films. Not everyone, because some people be like, I can't. No one's going to say anything too bad about ILM or Lucas in general. But you got Ken Ralston. Is it Ken Ralston, ILM guy? He's always a joy to listen to. And it got Richard Edlund in it. But it had, I think maybe the producer or someone said that, Kenny Baker was completely sloshed, and just a bit of a boozer at the time, so he couldn't play Wicket. And obviously Warwick Davis, massive Star Wars fan, got it because, was it opening casting call? I think it was.
It was, yeah. And Lucas's story is that he says you put these costumes on these dwarfs, and some of them develop it into a character, and some of them don't. And he said Warwick was just incredible. It was just and you can see it. I think I can totally believe that Warwick Davis is right for this part, and Kenny Baker isn't. Frankly,
yeah. Because Warwick kind of used his dog, wasn't it? It's for inspiration when he tips his head and stuff. And obviously, when they remastered these for the Blu-ray, I think they added the blink, didn't they, to the Ewoks?
Oh, yes, that makes sense. Because I remember there was something about them not being able to do the radio control blinks like they normally had, because there were just too many Ewoks to deal with radio control eyes.
I mean, I don't mind that. I don't mind them adding a blink. I mean, a blink's a blink, man.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
I want the non-blink editions. All right, calm down.
It's not Star Wars unless it's blink free.
Be multiple cuts of the movie in 10 years' time. The non-blink editions and the matte line edition. You
get a load of fat white men in their 40s marching with placards saying "No blinks, get the blinks out."
Oh dear. What the?
That's always the lamest. What kind of armour is that guy wearing if a small lady bumping him with a stick can knock him out?
Now, after this has come out, Rob, did you watch the Ewok movies?
Oh, damn straight, of course, yeah. Of course.
I think they were released theatrically in the UK. I think they were just TV specials in America, but they did come out in the UK cinema. And also, I saw it on tape because the poster for Caravan of Courage, stupidest name ever. It looked great. The poster's great.
Yeah. And it was Star Wars, so yeah, it's like
but
it was always. I don't know anyone who liked them.
No, you kind of you'd watch it and go, it was right. I think Battle for Endor. Is it the second one?
The second one's better than the first one.
Yeah, but it feels a bit Willow. The second one does.
Yeah. But this time I'm actually gonna remember to. Oh my God, I think he's made it. Oh no, sorry. No, I met a guy who was trying to make a documentary on the Ewok movies, and I wanted to give him his name a shout. It's called Yubnub, The Forgotten Ewok Adventures.
Yubnub. Yeah,
I mean, that's perfect, isn't it?
That is good, isn't it? Yeah.
He was trying to raise money for it when I met him. But
was it Kickstarter? Was it?
He was about to do a Kickstarter. He'd printed up some merch and was like trying to raise awareness and interest and so on. But I can't find his bloody name now. He was a nice guy.
He didn't get a cease and desist, did he, from Lucasfilm? Please don't make this. No one needs to be reminded. No, I'd love to see a documentary on that. That'd be great. A chapter called "What Were You Thinking?"
So, who thought what Star Wars needed was more Wilford Brimley?
That'll beat us. But then also there's an Ewoks cartoon, wasn't there? Which I don't recall seeing as a kid. There was the Droids cartoon I saw.
Yeah.
I saw when it first aired in the UK. The first episode, I thought it was rubbish. I didn't like it as a kid. I was like, no, I'm sticking to Thundercats.
Yeah.
Whatever was on at that time.
Yeah. No, I went back a couple of years ago and I did that Star Wars rip-off video. I went back and watched all this stuff and rewatched the Ewok movies, watched the Droids cartoon and the Ewoks cartoon, and Yeah, none of it. You're not you're not missing out on anything. Tom Grove. That's what this chap's name was. Tom Grove. So if you're interested in the idea, it looks like he's actually made it. It's not got a release date, but it's got all kinds of people listed, and it looks like he's got Warwick Davis in it, and the little girl. Oh, that's cool. Oh, good luck to him. George adding some more comedy back in.
I love how because Chewie just like, oh, this is food. No, Chewie, no. It's like,
it's kind of nice. This is drawing back to the old serials that it was all. I mean, that's straight out of a 1930s serial, isn't it? That scene.
But this bit, right? Okay, when they all emerge, you can see one of them just standing there static, right, in the background. Because I don't think he's supposed to be seen, because they're all supposed to slowly emerge from the branches, right, and the leaves and stuff. But yeah. Oh, when he points a stick at his face, get that away from me. I guess point that thing somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, go point that thing someplace else.
That's right, yeah. I do love though that I love the baby Ewoks, so they're cool, little super cute little gizmo things, you know.
The language for the Ewoks I got quite interested in the other night when I was doing a bit of research. I've forgotten the name of the indigenous people now, but it's somewhere in central China. There's this rural community that's like cut off completely from the rest of the world, and Ben Burt heard them, some sort of documentary or something, heard this language, heard their dialect, and spent ages trying to find someone in the States who spoke this, and eventually found this woman and got her to record, just to like tell stories. So she'd just sit there telling old folk tales from her, from her ancestors. He recorded it all and then gave those recordings to voice actors to imitate. But it's so the whole language grew out of that to the point that it's actually reasonably intelligible, apparently. And the idea of 3PO telling the story of what had happened so far, using all the different voices and playing out sound effects and so on, that apparently came from this woman who told these stories naturally, as her ancestors always had done, while incorporating sound effects, basically, and adopting different accents and different voices. So it ended up being hugely influential, I think, that woman.
Oh, I remember them going, that was it, when they're doing the little, when they're about to cook them or something.
But there are little snatches throughout the original trilogy of actual foreign language. I remember one story about someone watching it in like Korea or I can't remember, somewhere or other, and there's just one character who has like 3 words of dialogue in an alien language, and it's actually not Korean, it's something more obscure than that, but it's actually that language, and it's actually contextually correct.
Oh,
so
right,
apparently,
okay.
if you watch Star Wars in a theatre in that country, the whole audience just goes nuts at that scene. It's just a completely innocuous random scene.
That was a stuntman that being dragged. Then that wasn't actually Luke. That was actually Mark Hamill.
Terrible wig as well.
Yeah, it was. I remember as a kid, I had the Ewok base as a toy playset, Ewok Village. They would recycle it for the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toy set, because it's done by, I presume, Kenner or whatever, the same people. But they would improve it, add more stuff to it, so it looked quite basic in '83 when it came up for the Prince of Thieves movie in '91. It looked a lot better. So fans would buy the Prince of Thieves playset and then put their Ewoks on that.
Well, you've got to do what you can to entice kids to buy Robin Hood toys in the 90s, I reckon.
Yeah, I had a Kevin Costner figure.
Have you seen that trailer for the new Robin Hood?
Was it the death of Robin Hood or something like that?
Yeah, the inevitable fucking reimagining. We're going to make this dark and gritty, and we're going to make him we're going to readdress his legend, and oh Christ.
Oh god! Yeah, I think someone had posted it in the WhatsApp, hadn't they? So
Yeah.
you need to see the trailer.
That was. I think it was Ty actually. Half the trailers he puts in that WhatsApp group make me go yeah, and the other half make me go oh.
Ewoks like, no, I think we'll just cook them.
God, it must be a nightmare if you cook your food and you're covered in fur. It must have all kinds of problems.
Must be a nightmare going for a poo, Someone's poo stuck on their fur.
All these problems that Ewoks have that we've never considered, Ollie.
Fleas. They must all smell of damp dog. They must do. The whole place looks damp, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I reek. Trying to blow out the fire.
One of them's also apparently made crimping tongs to deal with Leia's hair. You'd think that would be dangerous for a furry creature too.
The little baby one. That's good.
That was a Jim Henson puppeteer in charge of that baby, you can tell.
This is all stuff Elstery, isn't it?
Did you have the Return of the Jedi sticker album, the Panini sticker album?
No, I had the storybook though, like for kids. Like it's a red book, Return of the Jedi, and it's just like a picture book, like A4 size, I'd say.
Do you remember those book and tapes that you used to get?
Yeah, I had
a little book
ones.
with a tape stuck to it. Yeah, and it'd be like I'd love to hear some of those again. Because they had Star Wars ones, didn't they? I can't remember for the life of me what the stories were, whether they were spin-offs from the movie or...
I think that would be the movie, just like condensed down, right, for kids. Made it all simple.
I can't remember, because like the Transformers ones were all additional stories separate to the cartoon show.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they're separate stories.
I was looking for a sound effect from a He-Man one. There's a He-Man and Transformers ones actually use the same like screeching bird sound effect. And I was looking for that the other day because it was such a big memory from my childhood and I've never heard it since.
There'll also be a sound effect when the tape ends to tell you to turn it over.
Oh,
right?
yes.
There'll be that as well.
Yes, something about, the story continues on the other side or something.
But there must be those old Filmation things where passage of time would happen, or it would go boom, a sort of weird spinning effect when it cuts to another scene. Remember that? It's good that C-3PO's got sound effects for events he wasn't there for.
Yeah, you can kind of see why people were a little bit, what are these fucking little teddy bears all about?
Because it was Han Solo's trying to get the wicket off his leg.
Do you remember the in Spaced when I think it's the second season of Spaced is after the Phantom Menace has come out and they're arguing about Jar Jar and someone says, yeah, but remember the Ewoks. And Simon Pegg says, yeah, but compared to Jar Jar, the Ewoks are fucking shaft.
Yeah. He's arguing with Bill Bailey, isn't he? Because they do what was it? They had to show Brian the Star Wars films. He hadn't seen them, and they also had also in season 2 they'd have Simon Pegg burn his Star Wars collection, like the end of Jedi with burning face.
That is great.
That is good, yeah. But when they showed Brian Star Wars and you hear the sound effects of Jedi, which they couldn't use, had to recreate it, but Simon and Edgar knew how the Ewok song went. Yep, yep, da 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 da. They have to recreate that, da 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 diddly do. Yep, that's it. This is okay because we, come the prequels, she, what was it like? Because she remembers her mother, but she, like,
Yeah.
it was it you who said this, or someone told me because she was the first to come out of Leia, not Leia, out of Padme. Her eyes are open, thus she remembered her.
Yeah, yeah. There is a fan argument that says one of the babies has its eyes open and the other has its eyes closed, and it's,
Well, you have to have, if it's not true, they'll have to update it with the eyes open edition.
yeah, we'll go. Yeah, Lucas fortunately had it taken off him before he got the chance to put that baby in a little hat with Leia written on it, and the other one in a little hat with Luke. But like, none of this needs explaining. We don't need this explain. Like, maybe she, for all I know, she's a Jedi. Maybe she can have a memory of, from being that young, or maybe she's remembering her stepmother.
Well, Leia's strong with the Force, isn't she?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, I don't need it. I don't need to have it explained to me why she can remember. I don't even consider it a plot hole. There are far bigger problems with the whole narrative structure of this series once you add the prequels in. But people need everything to make it. But why could that not have been her stepmother? Her stepmother, her adoptive mother, who she remembers, because we don't see her. We don't see a queen of Alderaan, do we? We don't. There's nothing needs explaining there. I
think maybe George should have rewatched the original films before he started writing the prequels. Just make a few notes, instead of going off memory.
What he was probably thinking he'd get more leeway than he did, because at the end of the day, most movies have plot holes that we don't notice or we're able to ignore because we're enjoying it or we don't resent it or whatever. Like the Star Wars plot holes have been blown out of all proportion because of how much everyone hates the prequels, or used to. Now they're fine, I believe. It's been decided they're okay now.
In a court of law.
Like Star Wars itself, the original Star Wars doesn't make any sense at all. Luke just happens to land. The droids just happen to land next to Luke, and they're there to find Obi-Wan, and they randomly end up within, driving distance of Obi-Wan with someone who knows who he is. That doesn't make any sense at all. But because we enjoy the film and we're engaged with what's happening, we're not thinking about that.
No. But then, there's certain things where if you're dealing with making a prequel or a sequel to a huge franchise which has so many fans who overthink everything, you would make sure you cross off your I's and T's. You know what I mean?
You should, yeah, you should.
Yeah. So this is watertight. Because someone will come along and do a wiki forum page, whatever, and ruin it all.
I always think that Harrison Ford, that scene between Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher I think it's really good. I mentioned it earlier. There's a lot to get through. It's not, it's not a great scene to have to put on film. And I think Mark 1 did a really good job with it and got really good performances out of both of them. Harrison Ford, when he bowls in, his acting's terrible in this scene.
He's just really miffed, isn't he, about all what's going on? Like he's not. I think he's just miffed that she's not.
I think he's just
open.
pissed off at being there. He's not interested. He's not engaged. He doesn't care. He's just going through the motions. It feels like to me.
Because he doesn't have much to do. That's the problem, isn't it? He's not looking forward to doing the shoot because he's like, well, all I've got to do is this kind of somewhat thankless dialogue.
I mean, he never liked the series to begin with and didn't want to be in this movie. So, yeah, why would we expect him to be fully engaged? That's a 2001 inspired shot, I reckon.
Look at a satellite in the background. That map is amazing.
It's great. It's not often you see these big spaceship models on the surface of the Earth at night in the dark. They do look cool.
They've got their Strepsil badges on there.
One of the very few times we see stormtroopers in this movie, or relatively few times.
You don't think? Well, you got the ones on Endor. What do you mean? Like the big battle?
Yeah. Oh, yes. But yeah, actually, yeah. And I've just forgotten
What are you
about
on
another. I think I'm thinking more of Empire, actually, aren't I? Yeah. Because they actually had to make a load of costumes for this, didn't they?
Yes,
yeah, of course.
Did, yeah.
No, there's plenty of stormtroopers in this one. Because in Empire, they didn't make any new costumes, did they? They were just all recycled from A New Hope.
Well, yeah, it's cutting costs, isn't it? This is a great moment as well. This moment here, where he's trying to get through to his father.
Yeah, this is it, man. I genuinely think that if Lucas had been directing these scenes, they wouldn't be anywhere near as good. Mark 1 gets a rough time of it, but I think he did a good job. He did what he's there to do. We hear all these stories about people saying he was out of his depth on set and so on, and he probably was, but I'm not sure it shows.
It's probably out of depth in terms of like, okay, we need to have this camera locked off because we need to put a mat in there, things like that. You know what I mean? It's like probably things like the technical terms for things, industry terms. When someone says something, you go, "What does that mean?" "Oh, you've been doing this for years, Oliver. You should know this." Well, that's a technical term I don't use. Why would I need to use that? So it's probably those little things. And
he was hired for the acting. He was hired to shoot the acting scenes of people, and he did that really well, I think.
And again, as you said earlier on, in terms of that sort of production schedule of a TV show, it's kind of like those like Bond films, really. You know what I mean? Where they'd hire a director in, like, why would they get this guy? If like the Pierce Brosnan sequels, follow-ups. We think, why were they? Why choose
Danny
them?
Boyle? Yeah, Danny Boyle was an odd choice when he was announced. Not a bad choice. I think a really interesting choice.
Is it Roger Spotswood? Is it That's an odd choice for a Bond director, but he's hired to do the actors. And you've got the second unit guys do all the
Exactly.
action.
Vic Armstrong takes care of the important stuff. Yeah, no, like it's the same back in the Roger Moore days when you had people like Lewis Gilbert just kept on being hired to make more. But it's like, where does that come from? But he's obviously he gets there on time and he gets the scenes shot, and that's all they need for that particular. It's like there's a lot of synergy between this trilogy and the original Mad Max trilogy.
Oh, right.
Because you've got that first film, came out of nowhere, very low budget, came out of nowhere, rough and ready, but was a huge, huge hit. Everyone loved it. And then the sequel came along, and the sequel was kind of darker and more, but people, the people who loved Mad Max actually kind of preferred it. They even thought this is actually better. And then the third film comes along, and half of it's really good and half of it's not so good. But it's also kind of much shinier, more commercial like this. But it's also split, the directing duties is split between two people. George Miller didn't have anything to do with most of Mad Max 3. He just shot the action. And that's effectively what, he hired a gun for hire, a reliable pair of hands to shoot the talking stuff, which is exactly what Lucas did here.
But then George Miller would come back years later and show everyone how to do action.
Yeah, the comparison kind of crumbles once you start thinking about legacy sequels. Yeah,
I love Lando's now got his Mexican alien. It must be Mexican, right?
Ninum. And hang on, he's not wearing Han's clothes anymore. He was a minute, but I thought he was wearing them when he set off in the Falcon.
Oh, no. He had his cape on, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He's still wearing capes, man. Again,
God, it's Lando.
Gotta wear a cape.
Billy D. Williams should wear a cape in real life. I think that would suit. He could pull it off. Not many people could, but he could.
And that was it about Rise of Skywalker, because Billy D. Williams come in. But at this age, he has a walking stick. He can't walk that far.
Yeah.
He's very, very old. But that was like the last little bit of characters we could bring back to sort of get fans like, yeah. Because you made a silly mistake of killing off your core cast, and then one dying of natural causes.
Yeah, that is sad. I've been reading her books recently, the series of autobiographies, effectively, and yeah, she was a lady with some issues. It's fair to say.
She lost the plot a bit, didn't she?
She was off her head for the shooting of. Yeah, she was complete a drunk and a junkie of various different drugs at different times, but
also a fantastic writer, wasn't she?
yeah, yeah. And I think a genuinely exciting and interesting person to know.
Now, I think I mentioned this in the last one where it's had a working title of Blue Harvest, didn't they? Because we were kind of unsure if this was the first movie to do that, to have a fake title to avoid paying extra fees, because once they knew you were making a Star Wars film, we're going to charge you $2 instead of $1 for something, you know what I mean? So this was Blue Harvest until once people figured out that, oh, there's Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford turning up, oh, it's a new Star Wars film.
I'm going to actually Google that to see what the first movie was to have a fake title.
Remember playing, it was on the Commodore 64. There was a conversion of the arcade game of this film, where the first two Star Wars games had this kind of vector graphics. You see the Gremlins play it, the sort of old 3D game of Star Wars. It's got the sort of the run on the Death Star, and Empire had the AT-ATs, and Jedi had this kind of 2D sprite-based game, which is like a isometric. So you had 3 stages. One, you're the speeder bike, and then it cuts to the AT-ST, and then that's kind of going up the sort of same isometric kind of thing in Endor, cutting back to the dogfight. And then the third level is where the Millennium Falcon goes in Death Star, destroys the reactor, then comes back out. So 3 stages, which you can complete, I was saying, about 10 minutes. And that's a short game. It was quite difficult, though. I think they made it. Any games, when you notice there's not many stages to them, they artificially make it difficult. So it takes you forever or whatever, or multiple attempts to get off the first stage. That's an arcade, so it wants to get your money. Mm-hmm. There was a fact I read earlier that the chair was supposed to move automatically or something like that. It had mechanical, but it wouldn't work when they came to shoot, so he had to shuffle along with his feet.
Yeah, the Emperor's shuffling the chair around, apparently. Oh, it's brilliant. In slippers, I'd like to think, in the tradition of Peter Cushing. Yeah, the first known fake title was actually The Birth of a Nation in 1915. It was shot under the title The Klansman to avoid controversy.
Oh, I see.
That is true. I've heard that before, but I wouldn't be too sure about the rest of the accuracy of this because I asked AI. So AI's second piece of advice on this subject is fake production titles became a standard practice, especially for blockbusters, with well-known examples like Star Wars Episode 6 being filmed as Blue Harvest in a nod to Family Guy.
In a nod to Family Guy?
So thanks, AI.
Yeah. It shows you AI is crap. But that goes in step with, though, because with the Birth of a Nation, they're trying to avoid controversy, but this is just trying to avoid extra costs.
Yeah. And everything's filmed under a fake title nowadays, isn't it? Even like non-blockbustery type movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, with Luke's lightsaber, what is your favourite lightsaber? The sort of the handle itself. Which one would you choose?
Oh, I don't think I'd have a strong view if I'm honest, actually.
You don't? Okay.
No, the lightsaber props have never grabbed my imagination in the way that other Star Wars things have, because they're not, like, you see them going for crazy money in auctions, like I think Vader's lightsaber is one of the 2 or 3 most expensive props ever sold, isn't it? But it's just the handle, though. So I'd always be disappointed that you couldn't do anything with it. You can't wave it about like you can a blaster. Like Han's blaster, I would much rather have than Luke's lightsaber.
Yes, yeah. I can't argue that. But I say I like the look of Luke's saber in Jedi because it looks more like a saber, where the other ones were modified, like camera flashes, weren't they?
Camera
Of the
flash,
camera.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Is this one not then in Jedi? 'Cause I thought they continued that kind of approach to
it's
making
a whole
them.
new get up, I think, really, for the design. Now Ben Burt turns up, doesn't he?
I was going to say, yeah, I think we're about to get the Ben Burt cameo, aren't
and
we?
he recreates the Wilhelm scream himself.
Oh, does he? Is that... Freeze. Rebel scum.
Rebel scum, yeah.
Oh, how cool. Oh, I didn't know that was him recreating the Wilhelm scream. I thought it was just kind of filtered or something.
No, he wears Han's outfit at the end of Empire.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Oh, of course it is. Yes, you're right. You're right. That's my mistake. Yeah. Yeah, when he goes off looking for him.
Oh, this bit here when they go, it's a trap, and then all the TIE fighters just go ooh, towards the camera. It's like this amazing sequence.
You've got Lando's got the same problem here as Han has, hasn't he? It's like anyone can be. In fact, it would make a lot more sense if they'd kept Han in this role and sent Lando down to the planet, wouldn't it? Or have Lando just do something. Well, in fact, write Lando out of it, because this isn't Lando specific. I mean, fine, we know that he used to own the Millennium Falcon, but this isn't a Lando specific skill required. Just as Han being down on the planet, that's not a Han specific skill.
You're getting rid of the only black man in this series. You got to, and like Lando's, having him destroy the Death Star is pretty fucking cool. It was also interesting, like fact, like you've often the case when you see the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, it's always Luke in that lot, but they're never doing anything behind. They're always sitting and watching. Where this have actually got operators in the background, like a
that's a good point,
like a bomber, Look out there! You'd be like, I can't see anything. It's just loads of little things flashing in the distance.
Can you imagine the problems lighting scenes like this? You've got a black set. Everyone's wearing black. There's no colour anywhere. The outside, you're comping in a black space.
There'll be different shades of black, or like a dark blue, navy blue, sort of, to make things work.
Yeah, Lucas does confirm in the in his commentary something I'd never heard him talk about, but you may have done, the idea that Vader is indeed severely limited in power now, having lost so many limbs and so on.
Oh, right, okay.
His Jedi powers are not as great as they were when some of the midichlorians in his legs must have been important.
Wasn't it like, I'm sure it was you, maybe my friend Andrew, that Darth Vader in episode 3 is kind of made out of older parts to restrict him or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, you've mentioned something about that too.
I just thought it's this fan waffle.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah, the Emperor didn't want him to be too powerful, so he gave him like crappy fake legs and stuff.
Yeah. You're USB 2, not USB 3,
So why then is Han wearing the Millennium Falcon pilot's costume and Lando isn't, when Lando is currently piloting the Millennium Falcon?
Well, because he turned up with it and then he handed it over to Lando.
That's just what Han just wears.
You don't just hand over the clothes as well. Give me that jacket. It's like... It's like a Family Guy game when the guy takes the guy's hat off or something because these guys are phony.
He's a big fat phony.
Well, he's playing the keyboard. He pretends to move away. Well, he moves away from it, still playing. I love that bit because the guy follows him. You're a phony in the background. He's like, "Come on, let's go." Oh dear.
Now, again, I feel like this is all a bit confused, this ending.
Can arrows pierce that armour?
Well, exactly. Lucas's whole idea, as was mentioned earlier and as everyone knows, was that a primitive race is able to overpower a technologically advanced race because of its greater heart and so on and so forth. But then, after explaining all that, he starts saying that, of course, they don't actually do that. They're just there to distract the Empire while Han and so on destroy the generator so that Lando and so on can blow up the Death Star, which makes their role not overcoming the Empire, but a minor distraction role within the greater scheme of that. So I don't quite understand what the point's meant to be there, and it does leave us with this problem of cute little teddy bears with sticks being able to kill trained, armed soldiers.
I think they're more of a minor inconvenience. I think really, it's like they only become a bit dangerous when they're literally cutting logs and smashing ATSTs, aren't they? Like, or making them trip up. And that was it. This took Phil Tippett like weeks to do.
Oh, God, I'm not surprised.
For when it wobbles on the logs and it begins to fall over. It was so difficult.
I'm not surprised. I wonder if, like, when Leia smacks that Stormtrooper earlier with the stick and it just knocks him out, it's as if, like, inside Stormtrooper costumes, there's nothing but tiny needles filled with poison, and if they accidentally bump into a wall, they're immediately dead. It's kind of the only thing that would explain all this.
So a lot of them, you just don't know if they're dead or not. They just fall over and go, ah! If they're not shot, they're not dead to me. He's dead. Where are you going? What do you mean?
Once again, we've got to try and conceal the fact that R2 clearly wouldn't be able to go more than 3 inches on this surface with his little wheels.
But it was always a bit sad though when there's a moment where the Ewoks start losing and start dying, don't they?
I know, it's the horrendously manipulative music that does it there, isn't it? It's so great, that musical sudden shift to...
There should be, like, the BBFC warnings where it says suitable for all, say may contain moderate, emotionally manipulative.
Warning, contains John Williams music.
It might make you cry. But every time I see that where it says, like, in a 15, it will say bloody violence, in my head I just read it out like Alan Partridge. Bloody violence.
Whoa, what a great shot.
I know, the best shot though is when he goes, here goes nothing, and they fly into the hole of the Death Star.
Yeah.
God, it's so good. The camera tilts and goes in.
But the orientation we have during these sequences, the camera is constantly swooping and diving and travelling at however many thousand miles an hour, but you can follow where everyone is and the orientation of it all makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's like when the Falcon has to evade the Empire in Empire Strikes Back, it's spinning around and stuff. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not over the top. It's not too much, flash editing and crazy reverse camera angles and so on.
Battle Station.
Yes. It's so good. Commence primary ignition.
That was a bit the other game we found. The guys on the right there, they got no barrier.
Yeah.
Complaining about that.
Can we not just put a little railing? It's not in the budget. Why is he a general?
Why is he a fish?
It's like, okay, you were really integral to the story in Empire, you'd better be a general. Well, I'm a private citizen, actually, and completely uninterested in your cause. No, you're a general. You're important to the plot. You're a general. See, they had to leave R2 at the back behind the ferns so you couldn't see his wheels.
It's interesting when R2 gets shot and all of his stuff exposed, or every little gadget he's got just all pops out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, poor R2. Here you go.
Han doesn't give a shit about droids, does he?
No.
Oh, the score. This is where it takes on
Yeah, when the one gets shot, you know. Oh dear, little teddy bear. It's all obsessed with kids are obsessed with Care Bears as well at the time, so it all kind of tees up with that. He goes mama, doesn't he? Yeah, it's his mum.
No, I didn't know that. Oh.
I'm guessing anyway, based on what he said.
Oh, look at all the green in that.
Next to kamikaze into everything, which is kind of like one that dude does, you know, where he goes, because later on he goes, concentrate all firepower on that superstar destroyer, and then within seconds someone gets shot and goes careering into it. They go, look out, boom, and it takes it out, like, you know, so quickly.
Oh, here we go, I think.
No, that's not that bit, because that's when the superstar destroyer
Of course.
falls into the Death Star, right?
Yeah. Is it a Death Star or is it a Star Destroyer into an... Oh, I can't remember.
No, the superstar destroyer falls into the Death Star.
Falls into the Death Star. It's funny, I don't watch this all that often, to be honest. It's probably only every like couple of years. It's not like the first film that gets...
Which is a self-contained movie.
Yes,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Star Wars, just called Star Wars.
It still is in our house.
Yeah.
None of this
Not
New
this
Hope
Hope
bollocks.
Yeah, exactly. Got an echo then.
God, he does so much with very little, doesn't he? That the Emperor, because he doesn't really do anything other than sit in that chair saying things, but the presence he has is incredible.
Because it's, you know, when he takes down Vader, when he makes Luke lose his rag, is that when essentially Luke turns to the dark side for a brief moment?
I think that's the implication, yeah, because it's all meant because I think the key
battles with his emotions, doesn't he?
Exactly, or anger in particular, because he loses the fight with Vader in The Empire Strikes Back. He's meant to lose it because he resorts to anger. You know, he allows himself to become angry, whereas he beats Vader this time because lots of reasons really, but because he has learned, he's now full Jedi and he's learned to overcome that anger. And that's what Lucas says.
I love this bit, right? When Chewbacca gets in the thing, he starts steering the vehicle.
This should have been the spin-off cartoon. Just these three going around.
And the Ewoks are like stroking his hair in the background. It's quite funny.
Yeah, Chewie and two obstreperous Ewoks in an ATST. That would be a great cartoon series.
Here you go, watch. Where is it? We saw an Ewok there with a gun.
Must be a nightmare for stormtroopers because you can't see anything out of those helmets, can you? And there's so much to trip over here. I bet the actors playing them are constantly tripping over.
It's like when you go when you're walking through kind of like a long hike, if you get off the hike path and then you sort of go off terrain, it becomes a nightmare because everything's just, it's all overgrown. It'd be terrible like battling this and trying to, like R2-D2 trying to get through anything. You'd be stuck within a meter of moving. Oh, this is the bit like Phil Tippett had an absolute nightmare with.
Yeah. But it's a really memorable shot though.
Oh yeah. I got it. And it closes.
Why are the cabins explosive in ATSTs?
I don't know.
Oh.
See that shot would have killed a stormtrooper, but a human with that body armor it won't just get pinged arm.
Have you noticed how blaster hits always result in like a small flame?
They do, don't they? Yeah.
It's an interesting little. It's kind of unique for laser guns.
Well, it's just the end of the spark, isn't it? When it goes off, it's like watching He-Man the movie. You know, there's constant laser blasts. and sparks going everywhere. It's like Power Rangers when they like
Yeah.
attack and stuff. It's like fireworks.
Oh, I love this moment.
No, wait.
No, wait, she'll be fine. Don't worry. Yeah, this is the best fight. This is the best lightsaber duel in the original trilogy, I think.
It's the bit when, for me, it's when Luke just goes mental, but it's the music. It's the music in the background with the choir.
You've got to say the music throughout this entire climax is second to none. Absolutely superb.
It's got like it's just such an emotional roller coaster with music.
Yeah. I don't understand people who criticise John Williams at all.
I don't know anyone who does. Who does criticise Williams?
Oh, he gets a lot of flack for being repetitive and for ripping off classical composers, which I don't know. I'm not even sure if I buy it, let alone think it matters.
All composers are inspired by other material,
Yeah, and I think he's less repetitive than most. Like Danny Elfman. Freaking, as great as he is, he's basically just done the same score for every.
It's like Hans Zimmer. Most of his scores are the same.
Hans Zimmer, yeah, Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, don't mention Jerry. No,
shamelessly.
No, Goldsmith doesn't. James Horner, unfortunately, has copy pasted a lot of material.
But I don't feel like John Williams repeats himself. I think he's got a particular style which is
not
that varied and quite identifiable, but that's not necessarily repeating.
If you listen to the theme of Rey, it's very Harry Potter. And Harry Potter comes from a lot of Hook. So it's kind of variations of the theme. It's not like copy-paste, but there is kind of like, oh, that kind of sounds like thingy, right?
I've never seen Rey or Hook, so I wouldn't know.
No, Force Awakens with Rey.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Ray. I was thinking, why was John Williams scoring a film about Ray Charles?
Yeah, Rey from Force Awakens. Her theme tune is Harry Potter.
Oh, I'd never noticed that. I'd never noticed.
Come on, old buddy. Oh, they've animated there's lightning in the background of the power cells. It's interesting.
Speaking of 2D animation, I think I saw a bit of it a minute ago when the speeder bike gets wrapped around that tree. It gets hooked and then swings around like a swing ball until it explodes. The rope really looked like it had been hand drawn.
It might have been, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. It'd be easier to do that, perhaps. Okay, right. This bit, maybe with the grading, they've brightened it up a bit, but Luke's hiding literally under the stairs. Vader walked down, but surely he would have spotted him by now because it isn't that dark,
Yeah.
So it looks like he's hiding behind a post at this point, but then he's under the stairs.
I'd like a bit more reflective light from Vader's lightsaber. I'd like a red glow on him from that lightsaber. That would look great.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I suppose I didn't think about that at the time, but yeah.
I think they do that more in the sequel trilogy. I want to say I feel like there's more reflective lightsaber light in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, because they've actually got proper lightsabers, the ones you can buy the toys. You know what I mean? Those replica ones. They just throw off loads of lights, so it makes it the most effective way of.
Is that what they used for the sequel trilogy then? The actual practical lightsabers, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much, but I've watched The Force Awakens a bunch of times. I do quite like that in a funny way, but the other two I've only seen once.
This is like the greatest moment. The music, fucking hell. Everyone was desperate for this music, but I don't think it was on the album at the time when it came out.
There is a famous cue from this that everyone adores that was never released for some reason.
It's this.
Yeah.
So haunting,
Yeah, oh, yes. Oh.
But then he sees Vader's hand. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm becoming him.
Yeah.
I've lost a hand. I can't lose anything else.
It did always confuse me, and still does now, really, just exactly why it's if Luke loses his temper, he therefore that makes him the Emperor's new apprentice. There's no, surely it's not quite that simple.
Yeah. Because it's not like it's just the kind of thing about the Force, isn't it? You'd have to do something quite nasty to sort of fall into that line of thinking.
I get the principle that he's trying to bring out the dark, he's trying to bring the dark side out of him by making him. But what's to say that even if he did that, which he just did technically, he wouldn't then react like this and go, oh, actually.
Well, the Emperor's made a mistake, hasn't he? He thought he could manipulate him like Anakin.
Yeah, I suppose it's that simple. Yeah, I can buy that.
Luke's had, more support over the years where Anakin didn't, did he?
Yeah. And he's not a prick like Anakin was as well from the start. Yeah, as a child, I was always really confused by that. Like, I don't understand why Luke. Of course, Luke should just kill. It's like when the Emperor's taunting him, saying, "Take the lightsaber and kill me." It's like, well, yeah, do it. Why not? What's the problem? Oh, little Num there, getting excited.
This is, again, like another powerful moment. Mark Hamill's performance here is brilliant as he's crying out to Vader. Such a good moment. Now, Marshall Lucas said this scene didn't have, originally, what Richard Mark wanted shot, the close-ups of Vader, where he's thinking, like, what should I do? And then he turns, and then these are all insert shots.
That's interesting. That's the kind of thing you'd expect him to have nailed down.
And she said, like when Vader throws the Emperor down into the cavern, the hole, as it were, this sort of thing, nothing happened. He just fell in, and then she goes, "Well, there should be some sort of reaction. Should be like a big explosion." That's why that gets added later on. So her little ideas she throws in, what should happen. But then that's her side of the story. You know what I mean? But judging by how once she left Lucas, things went shit.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to believe her. She's clearly an incredibly important figure in the whole story of Star Wars. Especially, when you listen to Lucas's commentaries, you realise just how batshit crazy some of his ideas were, and like, how can you be? You understand storytelling, don't you? Why are you? But maybe he doesn't. Maybe storytelling just isn't his bag, and his abilities lie elsewhere.
You notice that once his hand's been cut off, Vader starts getting more dusty and like. Because once he dies, he's all like got dust on him. It's really weird.
Why is that then?
I don't know.
Oh, hang on.
No!
Not
We added
there.
Oh, we added the no then. No! Fucking stupid. But I do love the animation where you can see his skull.
Yeah.
To show he's human.
That was a last-minute change as well, apparently. I can't remember. I remember reading something about that. It wasn't originally part of the plan. So, is he dead or not? I still don't really understand what the narrative is. Is he?
What, the Emperor?
Do we find out in Rise of Skywalker that he's? Did it ever get nailed down whether he's a clone or a?
In Lucas's mind, he was dead.
Right.
That was it. And then, they decided, Disney and whoever, for the third one, or number 9.
9, yeah.
9? Yeah, they were like, oh, we've run out of ideas. What are we going to do? Let's bring back the Emperor. But then that's kind of like, oh, let's bring back the Death Star. But yeah, that was the most. That was so stupid. Anyway,
was it ever established though? So within the logic of the sequel trilogy, is it established whether or not he is a clone of the Emperor or the actual Emperor? Because I remember there being a lot of no one knew at the time, and I don't know if it's been explained or if someone's decided since.
I don't know if he's actually a clone, but it was the new. Who was the new dude they introduced in Force Awakens?
Kylo Ren.
No, not Kylo Ren. His boss. The new Emperor.
Snape. Yeah, what's he called? Snowed. Something.
Gollum. Andy Serkis. The,
Steve.
it's Steve. It's Dave. Dave Skywalker. Oh, no, it's not Dave Skywalker. I don't know. I think he's supposed to be a clone or something.
Yes. Yeah, the giant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, concentrate all firepower on that Super Star Destroyer. And suddenly, they blow up the shield thing for that Star Destroyer. And suddenly, it gets taken out. I thought it was a little bit too efficient.
Yeah, maybe you should have been doing stuff like that from the start.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'd do in a video game. Too late. I'm surprised it was quite close to the Death Star because it now full plummets into it.
Ooh. Gravity drawing it down. I suppose the Death Star would have a gravitational field if it's that size. Maybe, yeah, probably makes sense.
Ah, the alarm sound. That's come back from the first Star Wars, isn't it?
Is it no one's bothered by a Jedi and Darth Vader just wandering about?
Yeah. See, look, he's all dusty and dirty now, Vader is.
Strangely, though, there is when we're cutting back and forth to him looking at what's happening, the last shot of him, he's not as dusty as he was in the previous ones. Maybe it's the light.
Now, what was the actor's name? Is it Sebastian?
Sebastian Shaw,
Sebastian
I want to say.
Shaw, that's right.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'll see, because this version we're watching has Hayden Christensen at the end.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've probably never seen that, actually.
It's so shit. Because they were like, Lucas was like, this is when Anakin was last good. It's like, well, no, don't you watch Jedi? It's like, he's good here. He's returned to being good again.
Yeah, whatever.
Fucking hell.
Hang on, so who's that then?
That's Sebastian Shaw.
That's Sebastian Shaw, right? And we just see Hayden Christensen as the Force Ghost at the end, yeah. So they haven't changed his face here.
Then he removed his eyebrows.
Of course, right.
Yeah.
Well, they'd always pissed me off, those eyebrows. I'm glad Lucas
He
did
needs
that.
to look more like an egg. Let's make him look like an egg. They put Dan Aykroyd in there from Coneheads. It's like, oh my god. It's like... I love his little harmonica at the front.
Yeah, I always think that as well. Yeah, the Force Ghost thing with Hayden Christensen at the end's weird because they didn't tell him what they were shooting it for, did they? So they literally just said, like, stand there and
Look awkward.
Be Anakin, and he said I saw an interview with him. He was saying, like, if they'd told me what I'd have actually acted. I'd have played that scene in the way it should have been played, but they didn't tell me what I was there for.
Oh my god. Hayden, just stand there and do it more faster and intense. What?
What's my motivation, George? Oh, you haven't got any. Your motivation is staying upright.
I love it when they shoot the reactor, it moves a slight wobble. Boom! It just all goes in one wallop. Love it. You got Wedge there, returning from A New Hope, which is great.
Good old Wedge.
Good old Wedge. Which is Hugh McGregor's uncle, right?
Yes, yeah, I believe so.
Here we go. Boom! Look at that.
Oh yeah, the whole thing starts to fall. I'd never noticed that. Or is that new?
No, I did the original one. This bit coming up, though, when Lando escapes, it's like the greatest moment in cinema. So good. Like the build-up, all the music, and then he's like, yeah! He flies out. Da-da-da-da-da.
The model shots are a lot more sophisticated, actually, aren't they, than they were in A New Hope? That's something I'd not really thought about before. There's a lot more going on. Yeah.
Sonic boom! Look at that.
Oh, God, that stupid bloody ring that they added to all the explosions in all these films. Right, in space, there's a ring that comes out of everything that
It's a sonic
explodes.
boom for all of these things, doesn't it? Now, what do you say about the music? Because, obviously, they get rid of the yup, nup, ba-da-bap-bap.
It is John Williams, isn't it?
Yeah, I do really like the new Victory Celebration. It's called because it's bigger in scale. It's more impactful. But I do love how the original music played out just for the end piece of music where it cuts and it has this quiet. It sounds like something from an old Disney movie. It goes, "Wah!" It just goes full belt.
Yeah, I love that.
I absolutely adore it. But I still, again, he did a great job rewriting the music to sort of have it play out a bit more, kind of more of a finale sort of celebration. But they both work, I think, really.
It makes sense, and there is an argument that, like, when this film was made, we get to see the world of Star Wars celebrating the end of the Empire, which is as it should be. But then by the time the prequels have introduced us to all these other worlds, it is a valid question, like, oh, okay, why are we only seeing the people from these movies celebrate? It does make sense to change it in that way, but I still don't. I stand against any changes ever made to any movies because it's just never been. I've never really seen the point. I don't think I've ever seen one I appreciate. Even that people will often say, "Oh yeah, but at least you've got to be able to upgrade the sound to 5.1 or something," and I really vehemently disagree with that as well. Maybe because I hate 5.1 surround sound.
Well, that's a big argument. Yeah, with like modern remixes of olden films. I mean, some can work, but often the case I'd rather just have the original audio presented in the best format it can be.
Yeah,
but not rejigged, because when they do rejig it for 5.1, they often play up the sound effects more and go
always turn the dialogue down. Always, in my experience,
and the music gets muted slightly. It's like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah. It drives me mad. I don't think I've got the best hearing, but it drives me mad. Like every time I watch a movie with my son, my wife's gone to bed or whatever, and I'm just constantly turning the volume up and down because the action scenes are so...
You're playing a 5.1 mix through a stereo TV.
Exactly, yeah. You can tell when it's 5.1 because you've got to turn the volume up to about 80 just to be able to hear anything.
Just make sure, man, if you've got an optional Blu-ray, most of them will come with it now, a stereo mix.
I do. Given if I have the option, I do.
If it's a Sean Connery film, Bond film, it's got to be in mono. It can't be in 5.1 Atmos or 7.1. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's probably because I've got tin ears. I probably just don't appreciate the value that people who understand this stuff and are into it probably get a lot of value out of it. But because I don't understand it, I don't.
Star Wars had a 70mm 6-track audio mix, so that can be mixed into 5.1 easily peasy. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this I love this music. It's good. Would you prefer dab dab?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not entirely convinced that this really fits, to be honest. I couldn't remember the exact piece of music you were talking about, but now I hear it again. It sounds like it's using modern fashions and techniques that you hear in modern scores to me. I can't pin down, I can't explain why, but... And I'm not sure that there'd ever been a melody quite this wet in Star Wars as well. It sounds like it should be in the Shire.
When he sees the Force Ghost, the music works really well.
Yeah, Gandalf should be telling us about hobbits while this music plays.
Drinking beer and smoking a pipe weed. There you go, Anakin.
Yeah, no idea what this was for. They just told him to stand there, move his head about, smile a bit.
Look evil. Before he cut away. Look, it seems to be doing an evil look there.
He does. Yeah, that transition into the raunchy music at the end there. I used to love that transition from Yub Nub into that.
Yeah, it's a big choir because it sounds very kind of like the golden age of cinema type music. How it ends, But yeah, again, despite some of the little nitpicks I have about Jedi, especially with the middle act stuff, and the sort of cutesy-fied kind of Ewoks, which it depends on what mood you're in. Sometimes I'm happy with them. I'm fine with Ewoks because they can be funny and cute, but other times I'm like, oh, they're a bit annoying. You know, it's a kind of weird Marmite effect with Ewoks, you know. But hey, as Simon Pegg said, not as bad as Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar. But also, like the big problem with the prequels is Jar Jar always gets the blame for it. The Ewoks always get the blame for this. And in both cases, I don't have a particular problem with them. Jar Jar's obviously no one's favourite character, but I think these are distractions from the actual problems. And the actual problems in the prequels go way deeper than Jar Jar. And in this film here, that all that Endor stuff, watching it with new eyes and concentrating on it in a different way now, there's something missing from that whole Endor thing, and it's a character who's driving it all and engaged with what's happening and being dynamic, and it's obviously meant to be Han, but he's not given much to do. He's not given much dialogue. Doesn't really seem very interested. There's a big strong character that's making stuff happen missing in that whole Endor sequence.
You could have had like you know, you got the Ewoks battling the stormtroopers, but then Han, Leia, and maybe C-3PO sort of break away and sneak in under the base and trying to work their way through stuff. Like it's like a what would you call it? A bit like Ocean's 11 trying to break in,
like a heist.
Like a heist.
Yeah. That would be interesting. And what just occurred to me was what they probably should have done. Really is. Obviously, Han shouldn't be anything to do with that because it doesn't make any sense. They should perhaps have found someone on that planet who is like the only human guy. Maybe he lives there because he likes the Ewoks and he wants to live in peace. Maybe he got stranded there years ago. But a guy who's sympathetic to their cause and has local knowledge and local skills and local information. And he could end up, like perhaps half the team get wiped out and they arrive on Endor, you know, fucked. They've lost all their equipment. They've lost the guy who was going to guide them. But then through the Ewoks, they meet this new character, this new guy, and he becomes the, you know, because you've got Mark Hamill as the movie's lead, doing the movie's lead business. That's fine. You don't. So yeah. So and then through that, they could conceivably come. Oh, okay, right. Well, your plan was to go in there guns blazing. What you actually need to do is this secret, clever heist thing with a route that only I know about, and the Empire, which actually they kind of do anyway. They get some local knowledge of the Ewoks. I know you'd be introducing a character, but
for them, it's like he was going to help them because he can try and get off the planet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's his kind of the bargain.
Yeah, you could make him like a Han Solo type, you know, a pirate type who was screwed over by the Empire. Maybe the Empire shot him down, and that's why he's been stuck on. And he's old and bearded now, and.
I'll be old. Okay. I was thinking, who would you cast though? This new character.
I think you'd want someone like Liam Neeson or someone like that, maybe.
I'd say Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton, yeah, yeah. He could be the same character from Flash Gordon. It's just. But you mean you could have someone young and sexy if you want, but I'd go with someone with a bit of someone in their like 50s or 60s, say. Which actually probably isn't Timothy Dalton and Liam Neeson now, is it? They're probably both 80.
But yeah, that's the kind of a thing you could have done to improve maybe the sort of the situation Han Solo's put in. But, you know, outside of that, I mean, it's still, you know, a great sequel, great way to finish it. And it's not because they would make 3 more, continue on the story. So it's you know, in the context of history, it's not the end of the Empire. You know, and it undermines it when you make sequels to this. That's the only problem. It's undermining the efforts that went into this. Like again, that's sort of as you were saying earlier about Star Wars: A New Hope, was that it feels a bit pointless now because it's all been undermined by everything else. And if you have, one of my friends said years ago, it was like when you do a prequel to Star Wars and if you make it bigger and better, it like undermines the next adventure.
Completely. It's a really tricky thing to pull off with a movie franchise in general. The fact that if it's successful, you're going to have a lot more money to play with. So how do you not? John Wick does a really good job of this. I think every John Wick movie is bigger than the one before, but somehow or other they all still fit together, and it doesn't feel like things have changed because their resources have changed, and therefore they can do this new stuff.
Well, John Wick's like bigger location, longer fights.
Yes.
That's how they justify it, right?
I've just rewatched all 4 of them, actually. And
Yeah,
they are
I was so
marvellous
happy.
movies.
My dad, like, Oliver, have you seen this film? It's this guy, he beats people up and shoots them. He's got long hair. And I was like, what are you film talking about? I was like, it's John Wick. And he's like, you watched all of them. I was like, oh, well, Dad, that's great. And I said to him, I was cracking up because our friend Chris, when he went to see number 4, where John Wick holds his jacket up to use it as a shield, he thought that was the most stupidest thing he'd ever seen. But it's pretty daft.
I buy it. I buy it completely.
Hold jacket up, very thin bit of material, There you go, folks. That is the end of the Star Wars commentaries for the original trilogy. Hope you enjoyed listening to this, and hopefully we didn't have too many long-winded tangents. If you've got a problem, phone THX.
Absolutely. And if you want to hear us moaning endlessly, check out the Genredrome episodes on the Star Wars prequels, because we've done all 3 of those with Stuart Ashen as video commentaries.
Yes, and Rob Hill has a lot of complaints, and very fair complaints.
They're upbeat complaints, though.
Yes, exactly. With slightly boozed up, as it were. Take care, everyone, and goodbye for now.